Sunday, excuse me, very last Sunday of the month. But this particular one in October, it happened that we had to move it, and the September one had to come to October. And that's exactly what is happening here as well. This was supposed to have happened last week, Sunday, but I had to move it to today. And this is coming from the fact that, I've made up my mind that this is something that I want to do. I would always want to, be around, available to share my thoughts on subject matters that might be prevailing every single month, and to make myself available, to for people to ask questions. Because yes, I know that quite a number of times it is those who are very much in my, you know, close knit network of coaching. If you're actually currently running a coaching program with me, that is when I can be very sure that I will be there every time to answer to your questions or the needs as the case might be. But with this monthly webinar, it has made it possible for me to be available, available for as many people as might be available for this particular webinar as well, so that then we have a situation where I would be able to answer questions and make myself available for a wider audience. So that's also one of the advantages of you being a frequent attendee right here. Can you see my screen? Are you able to see my screen right now? I'm already sharing my screen. We are starting in advance. Yes. Thank you, Michael. That is a yes for your screen is up. All right. I'm already streaming live on YouTube. Excuse me, let me just go ahead and share the link to the YouTube. I didn't set it ahead, so I do not have that link available to me at this moment, but I can always share that link in the chat so that you can also share the YouTube link for people who are interested. Still have time for the movie SDJ, that's the YouTube link. So in case you are also trying to join on YouTube, perhaps it works better for you, and I would also love to have you join YouTube. Okay. Well, like I said, attention and more focus will be for the Zoom, because then I'm going to see your own questions or your own um, requests or comments faster than I'm seeing the others. So that is why the priority is, for Zoom, not necessarily because I believe there are people on YouTube that wouldn't deserve to have my attention as much. All right. So we're fully set. My volume is low. Oh, please, is this same across board? Does anybody else want to check? Does someone else to confirm so that we know whether it's device specific? Let me see what could be wrong. Okay, it's better now. All right, perhaps it's because I was going in and out of the Zoom, because I was going to YouTube and trying to do the link, because I'm checking I don't have any Bluetooth device connected to my laptop, because that's also one of the things that happens once you turn on your laptop, it automatically remotely connects to a Bluetooth device that might not necessarily be with you. But please confirm that it is still loud and clear so that we move on. Hi, Nifemi. Hi, Rola. FT says is better. All right. I think I also need to project my voice. I think I was just talking like you guys were right here beside me, forgetting that my voice has to go through my laptop, through whatever other medium, with the internet, and then of course get to you, and then your device has to process it as well before it comes. But I'm happy that it's very much better now. So let's go. We are live on YouTube as well. So today is about turnaround time, and I know that quite a number of you already are aware of what turnaround time means. I remember asking last month when we're talking about the ankle leg, and we're like, what exactly is the ankle leg? And quite a number of people didn't know. Some people checked it out because of the topic, and some people were like, don't worry, when we get there, SDJ is going to tell us. And this is, pretty basic turnaround time, exactly what it means, the time that it takes for you to achieve a particular thing. And that is important at this time because we are, okay, excuse me, I need to drink some water. All right, thank you. I took the time to also mute participant on entry so that we won't be having interruptions. But from time to time, you permit me to just sip some water. I think I'm having this sort of flu, and I get that feeling to drink water more often, today. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm sure that's good news to someone on this call right now. All right, turnaround time. Let's go. So, Rockslide, we need to understand what turnaround time is for us to know exactly how we can maximize it and how we can be better at using our time. So this is not just about turning tasks around and getting results. It is about ensuring that you do it fast and you don't sacrifice the quality. And for me, that is the very focus that I want us to be looking at tonight. Because many times we're like, okay, get it done anyhow. Well, you want to get it done, you want to get it done fast, and you want to get it done very well. And now that we're already in November, it's the third day of November, and to a large extent, you might be feeling that, oh my gosh, no, things are really going fast. Is this year coming to an end again? I mean, somebody was having this conversation with me recently. I was saying, no, the moment November is gone, everything is done. I mean, I don't believe it because quite a number of things can happen for you in December. Quite a number of things can start for you in December. But I can imagine that you set goals from the beginning of this year, and this webinar is speaking up, from a bit of speaking about the ankle leg from last month, where we spoke about the fact that this is the last quarter. I want to quickly run and get things done and get to our task. If you're feeling me, I want to see you, put comments in the chat as well. So now we're moving to, we have done another month again after we've spoken about the ankle leg, and we have approximately 2 months, actually less, because at the time you consider Christmas and then the few days prior to New Year, give or take, we can say we have 6 solid weeks to do all the work, to run all the errands, to try to get all the tasks done before the end of the year. So how can we improve our process now that we have 6 weeks more to hit that target, to get that goal? How can we go faster and still deliver without sacrificing the quality, without sacrificing excellence? And that is what tonight's focus is about. And I'm going to be taking us, tips and things that we can do In fact, for every point that I'm sharing, I have a to-do. So when it comes to the to-do, I'm going to pause a bit so that you can write it down, because I'm not interested in you coming to hear something, learn about turnaround time and say, oh, great, good, and go. No, I want to see the action points that you are going to write out, and I want to see you going ahead to use this point, this to-dos to get your task done before the end of the year. So now, understanding turnaround time, you need to reflect on recent projects or the work that you're doing right now, or what are the tasks that you have that are so important, things that you have that are key to do. A project you plan that, oh, in 2024, I'm going to do it. You probably should have started planning it maybe 3 months ago. But yes, it didn't happen. You didn't start planning 3 months ago. But it's start of November, you're like, I still want to do this thing before the end of the year. So reflect on it. Whether a project you've done recently, or a project that you are hoping to do. And then if it is the one that you have been doing or you're working on already, you want to identify the delays. If it's the project that you're going to do, then you want to even identify why you have not started pushing it out. What were the delays about the project initially? What did you get the cold feet about the idea, about the project, all of those things. And in the course of reflecting on this project, you begin to see quick wins. And this can give you opportunity, in fact, to go ahead and call somebody, tell somebody, get somebody, an accountability partner at this point. Say to them, oh, I plan to do this project. I'm telling you now so that you can hear about it. And then as much as possible, I want to get your support. And sometimes support is just in reminders. Because when people hear, I want to get your support, we're already feeling like, oh, they're asking for money or something. But no, I want to get your support is also equal to remind me, ask me how far have I gone and all of those kind of things, because many times we don't spell out the kind of support that we need or we are requiring. Okay, so we need to ensure that we're focusing on what matters most. That is what helps you get a fantastic turnaround time. You need to be focusing on what matters now. Like I said, if we have approximately about 6 weeks, left, tomorrow is a Monday, we are starting, a new week tomorrow. And if we take tomorrow, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have, give or take, 5, 6 Mondays. By the time you are on the 6th Monday after tomorrow, you are already on the 16th of December. And the Monday after that is the 23rd. I'm sure organizations that are going to go on holidays or something would have started shutting down by 23rd. Even you would have started preparing, making that party preparation or whatever it is, or traveling preparation for Christmas. So like I said, 6 weeks. And if you have done all of these 40 something weeks in 2024, and you are focused on several other things, it is time for you to focus on what matters now. And that is what turnaround time is going to be about. So you have to prioritize your task. And that is essential for you to be able to achieve the goal that you have to achieve before the end of the year. And this would involve categorizing your task based on what is urgent, what is not urgent, what will give you the biggest, greatest impact. What would at least help you to get some quick, boxes ticked. You probably, and I spoke last time that maybe you plan that you're going to get a master's. Yes, it might be too late to, get on it right now because admission it might have closed, but you can still get on a certification and all. I know, okay, I ticked off, learning, I ticked off an extra certificate or something, and that's giving you the impact, right? So education or upskilling for you might be the urgent task. Which one can you get on that will give you the biggest impact, or at least, affect your bottom line the most when it comes to your business? That is what you want to focus on. So you can also consider the 80-20 rule. What is that 20% of all the things that I am doing that I can focus on for these 6 weeks that will give me the 80% of the impact of the output that I really desire and will make me have a fantastic close to the end of the year? And this can be, applied in multiple areas. It can be applied to your relationships. What steps, what activities, what conferences, what parties can I attend between now and the end of the year that will allow me to, achieve my networking goal, that will allow me to achieve my friendship goal, that will allow me to achieve my spiritual goal, whatever it is. look at it. This is the time when you want to say, okay, out of all of these things we would have desired to achieve, let us now focus on this that is not only urgent, but will give us, the biggest, greatest impact, to have the biggest impact on our bottom line, or to give the greatest impact, from our work or our activities. So for the to-dos, you need to minimize distraction by focusing your energy. And this focus of energy means that you have to focus on what will deliver the most. Excuse me. Yeah, water break again. So you need to list all the tasks as much as possible. List the projects as much as possible. Identify the high priority ones, the best that you can. And like I said last, webinar, but I said, okay, sometimes we use the words like strategy, like, oh, yeah, just write it down, plan. These are the 10 things. Which one can I still do now? Which one do I have power to do? Which one do I have money to do? Which one do I have people to do? Those kind of things are the ways that you can quickly just help you to know which ones are your higher priority, which ones that you have resources to do, and then you can begin to now allocate that resource or those resources to those particular ones. One, that you have resources for. Two, that are high priority ones. And I'm now saying that it's not only because you have resources that should make you make the decision. You might not have the resources, but it might still be high priority. Then you begin to think, who can I talk to? Who quickly that can give me, can I even scale down the project? Perhaps I wanted to do it on a large scale and it was going to cost me millions of naira. Now, what can I do? How can I achieve it under 1 million? How can I achieve it under 500K? Begin to think in that way, and focus on what is the essential part of this project that I need. All of these ones are extras, or the ambience, or the decoration and all of that. They are not what matters at the end of the day, except of course, it's like a gallery where the ambience is exactly what you're selling. Then now in that case, ambience, is part of the high priority in that particular project. Okay, I hope you're getting something. Secondly, after focusing, of course, on what matters, one major thing is you need to, at this point, streamline your communication. All of we need to do this, we need to do that. 10 steps before we can finally get this done. 16 steps before we can finally get it done. And this is majorly for the bosses amongst us. You can't, have all of that multiple divergent, a whole lot of information all out, and now expect that work will still go on at a faster pace. So what is major? What should be heard now? What can we really focus? What is the most important thing that needs to be said? Don't be like SDJ, where you want to first of all wait and set a background, set the mood. Let's set it in a time and a space. Hello, what is the cocoa? Get to the point and give that information as much as possible. I'm sorry for all of this overlaps in my slide. But you need to reduce the back and forth in your communication. When you reduce the back and forth, you reduce delays. And once delay is reduced, because people have what they need quickly, then people can get to the work done. Not, oh, I'm saying 1,000,001 things, and at the end of the day, after spending 1 hour listening, everything everybody can get is one single thing. So at the end of the day, you could have just said one thing in 2 minutes, one thing in 5 minutes, one thing in 10 minutes, and the remaining 15 minutes could have been used to get that one thing done. Streamline the communication. One of the other ways is to give quick access to information and quick access to clear instruction, quick access to follow up. So don't now leave the person. Maybe follow up is usually once a week, once every 2 weeks, at the end of the month. Now you only have one end of the month, which is November. Anything that is not done at that time will likely not be done. The correction you begin to make at the end of November, to a large extent, you might not be able to achieve so much in December anymore. So do you not want to say, let's have it differently? Let's have, reviews weekly. Let's have reviews twice or 3 times a week. Or let's have reviews at the end of every day or at the beginning of every day. 10, 15 minutes. Let's just say, so how was it yesterday? Oh, okay, let's try this today. And then quick, we're able to get all of those things done. And then, so what are you going to do? Choose one communication tool or one communication platform or one communication line so that the whole team, everybody working with you on that particular idea, on that particular project, can adopt that one. Don't let me be searching my email, searching my IGDM, searching my LinkedIn DM, searching my WhatsApp for information that might come from you. Let me know that, well, as your subordinate, when it is going to be WhatsApp, and that WhatsApp, everybody is there. Maybe it's not a WhatsApp group, that's fine. When you send me the message, forward it to the other people that we're working together. We know we are waiting for instruction on WhatsApp. Not we are wondering, is it going to be by email now? Or last time it was a phone call. 3 weeks ago it was an SMS. 5 weeks ago it was word of mouth from another staff. No. Choose one communication tool, one communication platform. Whatever it is you've been using before, now decide out of these 6 we are using, this is the one we want to use now from now to the end of the year, so that that can really be impactful. And you now want to set protocols for prompt updates on that communication line. So maybe it's a check-in per hour, check-in per day, check-in at the close of business, whatever it is, regular check-in to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Everyone that needs to have that information is having it. Everyone that needs to be pushed is getting pushed. Everyone that needs to be encouraged is getting encouraged, all happening real time. Okay, so the next thing is that you now need to automate tasks, especially the tasks that are routine tasks. These are the things that you do every single day. And for example, someone once asked me that it takes so long for them to schedule their task on Google Calendar, and that all of those inputs and all that, it takes too much time. And for that reason, they find it hard to use it. And I told them, oh, I don't schedule my Google Calendar every day. I dedicate 1 or 2 days at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the quarter to it. And once a new task, a new role is coming into my life, I automatically just dedicate 1 day or a few hours in a day to see how that particular role or that particular task is going to affect my quarter or affect the rest of my year. Then schedule it to do it at the same time every single day. Or now, it's not at the same time. I want to do it on Mondays at 4 p.m. I want to do it on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. I want to do it on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. That's it. Sit down at once, put it like that in my calendar, and set the calendar to repeat weekly. And it will ask me when I want it to end. So perhaps that engagement is ending at, in December 2024. I'm just going to say, stop, end it at December 2024. So the moment is January, that activity stops showing on my calendar. But activities like prayer time, activities like time with family, those are constant. Activity like going to church, those are things that are repeated, and I go to church every Sunday, at the same time. So those things, and the same way, you can now look at the routine, things that you already do consistently every day. Maybe you eat breakfast at the same time. So can you automate how your breakfast is, made, how your breakfast is served, how your breakfast is delivered? Can you already know what it is that you want to eat already in the mornings, so that it's not every morning you're spending 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes to start trying to think about, what am I going to eat? I mean, that itself would reduce the number of time you're spending on personal things, and you can focus more on the task or the projects that you have. Is anyone getting me? Nobody's putting anything in the chat. Okay, so you need to automate routine tasks. Thank you, Michael. And this involves embracing technology. Embrace technology. Guys, you have to embrace technology. Look, if you don't know how to use something, ask for help. You see a short course on something, you want to get on YouTube. Sometimes it's a long thing to do YouTube, I promise you. Ask somebody who knows how to do it, and then go ahead and say, tell me, show me, teach me, and then embrace it. Find out more about that technology in your own private time. Technology helps you to speed up. It helps you to get what you need to do, in a longer time, done in a shorter time, as much as possible. Embrace technology. Thank you to all the chats that I'm seeing. We're here, we're doing it right. Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. He said you're doing it right. Thank you. Automation, of course, there are tools to do that, and it can help you handle. I gave the practical example of my Google Calendar already ahead of you. So in fact, I already automated my Google Calendar to send me reminders. So for every task I put in, it is automated for it to send me reminders 1 hour before, 30 minutes before, and 10 minutes before. And why did I do that? it is not all tasks that I need those reminders for. But I need those reminders for some particular tasks. But it's not possible for Google to remember to ask if every time I get to those tasks, I have to start putting it in. You get. So I'm like, you know what? Let's Google just do that reminder for me. So if in the next 1 hour, I'm supposed to have, for example, this webinar, I get the reminder. I get to remember 30 minutes, again, and then 10 minutes. The 10 minutes one is usually what most people use. But many times, 10 minutes might be too short to round up your current task. But if you already have a 1 hour, then you can say, oh, let me use this 1 hour for focus time. Let me quickly finish this task before I move to the next thing. 30 minutes reminder tells you, oh, you have already gone 30 minutes. You need to speed up of some sort. And of course, you want to use, beeps that are not too disturbing, because if it's now a song and it's singing everywhere, even you'll be distracted from the task, from the deep work that you are trying to do. Thank you, Jube. Jube says, I use, praise Jube, I use the Google Calendar automation it's a lifesaver. I promise you. If you haven't started trying that for scheduling, you need to do it. So identify at least one task in your workflow that could be automated. And the key to it is we do it every time. We do it every time. So perhaps you want to have meetings every 15 minutes, first thing in the mornings. Automate that into your calendar. Schedule that in your Zoom. Schedule that on Google Meet. Let it pop up by itself and say meeting time. For that, you would not be, you feel, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. Oh, I'm so sorry. All of those things, that wouldn't happen. Fix in webinar with SDJ into your monthly schedule. Don't be reminded every time, say, I missed it. No, you don't want to do that. All right. Research a tool to implement by next week. You see, I put deadline there, next week, because we don't have time. We only have 6 weeks. So in fact, since I'm giving you 1 whole week to do the research, it means you have 5 weeks to implement. No, you have to do it quickly. Get on it. We want you to get things done. 2024 is not over, guys. No. Don't let that even come to your head. You can still achieve quite a lot in this 6-7 weeks. And already in that 6 weeks, I've already put, your holiday in consideration, because you are going to have a great Christmas celebration. Okay. And of course, don't just research on the tool. Commit to integrating it and integrate it. And don't integrate it for this end of the year alone. Let it be part of your life. Let it make things simpler and easier for you. Moving on, time blocking is really important at this point. Many things calling for your attention, 1,000,001 things to achieve in one day. That's fine. Block out your times. Focus on one particular task at a particular time. Move it in a certain direction. And when you're finally dropping it, you're dropping it to focus on something else. This, yes, quite a number of us talk about multitasking, and sometimes we can't help it based on the fact that, you work in a place and you're working on perhaps 5 different projects, and then this person is asking you a question, you're supervising this other person, you need to check on this person, this client walks in, blah, 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 all of that is happening at the same time. But the best that you can work on taking charge of your time, taking charge. And people say, oh, it's because you work for yourself. That's why. No, when you don't work for yourself, you know already the way your day goes. Try to observe it. There's a particular time, particular situation that makes your boss calls you. There's a particular friend that is always coming to sit by your table and have gist that you did not ask for. Now, you can note those things. And then you can now say, oh, this is the time. And it requires you stepping into office 1 hour earlier, 30 minutes earlier, so that you can settle down. You don't have to do all the table greeting before you get to your table, so that they're the ones that meet you and all of that. One of my girls told me that one of the ways by which she's been able to get all of those office gossips and conversation that is not her business out is that she just always plugs her ear. She said, SDJ, I'm not always listening to anything, but my ears are always plugged. And when I now see that they are now gisting up particular gist that I don't want to hear, and they now call her name, SDJ. So she said she will wait a bit before she now remember. I say, So now you people will already know with my body. I'm not, even though I heard all the things that she said, it's not my business. Don't people should not come and use your own gist to affect how my schedule is going. So the environment you are in, the task that you do, the things that happen to you, can help you take charge of your schedule. And that can help you now take charge of your time blocking. And time blocking is you having that specific uninterrupted time to focus on a particular thing. So you more like you're saying you have blocked today 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. You've blocked it strictly for webinar with SDJ. That's what time blocking is. And that means whatever it is, every other person, that's not the time you want to cook dinner. That's not the time when you want to gist with your friend. No, that's not, you want to focus on that activity. And it helps to boost your productivity. I tell you for free, some people are probably recording this with AI, or they are just listening and nodding in the middle of many gists. They wouldn't get as much. But if you're giving this webinar 1 solid hour, full concentration, at the end of the day, it's not even about your jottings. There are things that will already be in your mind that will be with you that you can take away and begin to use. That is the advantage of blocking time. It brings all your faculty into that moment. It keeps you at your best on that project. You perform on that project excellently in that time frame that you have created. And then when that time is over, you can now say, oh, I'm moving to another task. And if you know very well, for example, that 1 hour is not going to be enough for me in a particular task, that's because it's your schedule and you know how it works. So you can begin to block 2 hours, 3 hours. And once you're done with those 3 hours of intensive, deep work on that particular task or project or topic, then you can go ahead and take a walk, go eat breakfast, go sip a tea, drink, take fresh air, take a walk in the garden, anything that you want, take a toilet break. You get what I'm saying? So, because you should actually take break. You need to recover from that intense work that you have just completed at that particular time. But that helps you to now, gain all of those time that we lose when we're trying to settle from one task to another. I have found out that it takes me approximately 10 to 15 minutes to settle down when I get on a new task. So what I have done in my schedule, in my calendar, is that I have given myself 15 minutes settling time before any task, any project that I have. And if I now have to do 10 different tasks in that day, it means that I'm going to be having 15 minutes, 10 times. Do you know how long that is, even how much hours I've wasted? So as much as possible, I don't want to have 10 things to do. I just want to have 3 major things to do. Then use another 15 minutes to settle into the next task, another 15 minutes to settle into the next task. And you can use it for reading as well. Focus on reading that particular course. Don't jump from here to here to here to here to here. 3, 4 hours, focus on reading that particular one, then leave it, play, do some other things, and go on to the next one. Okay, so plan your week, this very week, using time blocking for your top priorities, the top priorities that you've already identified earlier that we spoke about. So now decide how many hours in this week, how many hours on Monday, how many hours on Tuesday. Be that specific, guys. And I'm not saying this, in fact, just because we're going to the end of the year, and that is really true. I'm saying it because that is how your life should be. Your January should be as urgent as your December. Your March, your June, your August should be as urgent as, oh, it's November, it's December. Every single time of your life that you spend, you can't get it back. So you can't say, now there's November, we need to start working and work hard in February, work hard in April, work hard in June, work hard in September, and work hard in November as well. Dedicate at least 1 uninterrupted hour. It has to be at least 1 hour for it to make sense. But it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 5. If you're the person that can do it, some people can sit down and read for 6 long hours. If that is your strength, go ahead. But when those 6 hours are over, or you begin to feel like, oh, I'm not concentrating anymore, I'm not assimilating as I want to be, I'm tired, I'm hungry, get up, leave it. That time is enough. Go and do other things. And then come back for another high impact section that you have time blocked. Okay? Now, moving on, you need to track and measure the progress that you are making. There's no time again to now say, let's wait until the end of the quarter. Well, the next end of quarter you're going to have now is probably the end of January. So you have to create a way to monitor and improve your turnaround time. So if you have spent 1 hour on the thing and you think you could have spent 45 minutes on it, good. put that into something, what you're noting. And then on the next time you're trying to do it, which could be tomorrow, try to achieve it in 45 minutes. Use tracking tools as much as possible. But the simplest one is a checklist. 1, 2, 3. These are the 16 things I want to do. And if you can, for me, one of the reasons why I don't do checklisting is that you can have 30 things to do and you have done checklisting. And they might not be productive tasks. And to call your mom, check up on this person and all of those kind of things, they might just be 1 minute, 2 minutes. So out of the 30 things you have to do in a day, you might have check, and that is fantastic. But the reason why I now pulled back from to-do listing more towards scheduling is that when I say check up on mom, I want to check up on mom and I want conversation with mom to be 15 minutes. Has your mother ever tried to call you at 45 minutes? People are still talking about what you don't know. Well, I celebrate our mothers. That is not meant to be a shade in any way. But sometimes you are like, Mom, like I said, hey, I just want to tell you, I just, Mommy, you told me yesterday. Mommy, I heard you last week, and you don't even want to be getting into that, getting agitated and feeling like, oh, gosh, I wasted 45 minutes talking to my mom. No, you don't want the time that you spend talking to loved ones to feel like a waste. Otherwise, it begins to be like a burden. So you can decide, okay, I have 15 minutes to talk to mom. And you can pick up the phone. Hello, mommy, how are you? And all of that. I'm in between work. I'm in between class. I'm quickly trying to get into a meeting. And I decided to call you. That is already laying ground for mommy. So that you know that mommy I only have like 2 minutes. But so by the time you give mommy 5 minutes, you give her 9 minutes. She's like, what's here? Try, you know? That's some strategy right there. But and this is not just about mom. I mean, there's that friend who just wants to tell you about their day and you really would love to hear. But you don't want to finish a conversation with your bosom friend and be feeling like you had a wasted day and you have tasks that you have not finished. So all of that, we need to see how we can juggle it together. That's why for me, with a simple checklist that I'm monitoring, I'm also now putting scheduling beside it to say, okay, since I have spent more than necessary time on doing this, then I want to begin to check. I have to reduce the time for leisure, perhaps reduce the time for, this particular task, depending on if the task can actually suffer, so that you can focus on what we are calling again the high priority task. And this is still part of measuring progress. This is part of tracking. This is still part of staying on top of your game. So stay informed on where you stand. Every day, check it. We only did 5 out of the 20 things we wrote. Then it means the next day you want to find out, why was I able to do 5? I probably wasted time on this, time on that. I probably wasted time on social media. Yeah, I track my social media time as well, so that you just don't forget. You have just scrolled through Instagram status or through WhatsApp status, and before you know it is 45 minutes gone. Wow. And then you do that 3 times in a day, and then in the evening, you're like, I only did it 3 times, but sometimes it goes as long as 3 hours. So you need to be tracking and measuring how you are spending your time, how well you're doing in your task and your project. Anyone still with me? So select a method to monitor your progress. And like I said, a simple checklist is done. Checking whether or not you have done all the things on your schedule, what you have scheduled is done. Having somebody who you're accountable to, that is it. That could be it. Yes, thank you, guys. And then you could also, have a project manager, for example, who is doing that tracking. I mean, you want to be checking in with them frequently, review your progress weekly at this point. Don't wait. And since I mentioned every single month matters, then you might want to change your quarterly reviews or your monthly reviews to weekly reviews, so that if we have spent a week on nothingness, we can quickly adjust them with two. Not we can just allow ourselves to spend a whole month on nothingness, and then there are just 11 months to achieve what we want. You understand what I'm saying? So review your progress weekly, make adjustments when necessary. Don't review and say, oh, chai. So this is how I'm doing. Chai. After the chais, go ahead and make adjustment. Make adjustment. Have that conversation with that family member. Have that conversation with that friend. I'm sorry, I want to be there for you at this time, but can you always just call me from 10 p.m. and most of the time during the day I am, yes, please. You want to really have a meaningful relationship, and having a meaningful relationship with your parents, with your spouse, with your friends, with your children also involve you being able to communicate truthfully, and you being able to not see their involvement or their time in your life as a waste of time or as an hindrance to your own progress and to your success. Do you see what I'm saying? All right, we move on now to delegation. You need to delegate, and you will notice that these tasks are not necessarily in any particular order. These to-dos, excuse me, these tips that I'm giving, these strategies, they're not in any particular order. So some might apply to you, some might not. But you, as the boss, you need to delegate. You have people around you as well that you can give. And it might not be boss, it might be home chores. Delegate effectively. Give this, that task to somebody else to do. And this is because you understand that each person, has their own strengths. And for that, you will help them to focus on the strength. Talking about chores, my first son is the one that likes to arrange spaces the most, but he doesn't like to sweep spaces. My last son does not like to arrange spaces, but he doesn't mind sweeping spaces. Great. You arrange, you sweep. Life is sweet. Everybody gets the kind of task that they want. And we have, house is clean. And I am happy. And I didn't have to do the work. You just need to leverage on people's strengths. Don't now go, you don't even like to sweep. There's no time now to throw fingers. There's no time to now make your team members bitter. You want everybody to be high in energy, excited and happy about themselves while they're able to contribute. Watch the areas that you can use their strength more and leverage on it. So trying to handle everything by yourself because you think they won't do it well, give them the ones they can do well. And maybe you want to begin to look at your team members and reposition some people. You might have employed some people and they are not in the area of stress. It's time to have that conversation to say, I think you'll be better in HR. This design team that you are the head of is not working. And then if they're ready to make the move, fine. If they're not ready to make the move, this is time for you to make the move to get somebody else who will do the job well so that you don't, you can confidently delegate. Because the moment you also don't believe in the strength of the person, it becomes hard to delegate tasks to them. So identify tasks that can be delegated to other team members. Yes, some you still have to do for yourself, but look at their strengths. And even though you can do it, push some of them into them, do the tasks that only you can do. Then, of course, assign those tasks to them based on their strengths, not ordinarily you are supposed to be. Well, some people are supposed to be and they are not yet there. And you don't have time now in these 6 weeks that you have to now begin to say, hey, let me give it to you, let me give another opportunity to fail, blah, blah, blah. That's not where you want to go. But perhaps you now need to make the decision. This person might not be continuing with us in 2025. Yeah, that's also part of the decisions you might have to make to help your delegation become more effective. You need to manage expectations. In this one, I spoke about managing expectations of your clients, but you, in fact, need to manage expectations as well. Sometimes we want that grand picture. Now you want to make $1 billion before the end of 2025. It's still possible. I mean, with God, all things are possible. But when it comes to faith, then in that case, we also now want to see the strategy, the steps by which we are going to take that can make that possibly come to us. And if somebody is going to pick up the phone and call me right now to say, oh, my name is XYZ and I want to give you $1 billion, then it has to be that they have already identified what they believe I can do with $1 billion. Or they say, God asked me to give you $1 billion. Then it means that there is work that God is expecting me to use $1 billion to do, not just come and adjust and feel good and live the baby girl life, which, as you know, I like to live. All right, let's focus. Manage your expectations. You need to set realistic timelines for your clients. And set that one for yourself as well. It has to be achievable deadlines. Don't let us go and be over promising what we cannot deliver. The time is short. We understand the economic terrain. And sometimes with the pressure of trying to get the job, wanting to be the person who is the chosen one, and wanting to say, oh, let it not be like I didn't do anything. We might just be in that, rush to make that mistake and then, promise that we'll be able to do X, Y, Z. And what can you do if you've already done this? Well, review all the current deadlines that you have and the promises that you have made. And if you find any unrealistic one, this is the time to communicate. More often than not, many of us keep quiet. We don't talk about it early enough. And because we don't talk about it early enough, we now seem to feel a lot. To communicate promptly and learn this for always. Just say, okay, we apologize. Can we review this again? Can we have this session again? Can we rework this particular thing again? To say that quickly makes you a person of integrity and puts you under less pressure more than, the other. So they can ask, okay, which one is feasible? That's fine. We can move this one to this. We can give you extra 2 weeks on this. This one, it is compulsory, it is for next week. And in that case, it now helps you to focus your own energy on that particular one that is next week. They have already now shifted grounds or a bit on some other part of the project that can happen much later. And then you can still get it done. And that will also ensure that, they are now seeing you as a person of integrity, not somebody who will keep quiet, keep saying everything is under control when it is not actually under control. Manage your expectations and manage other people's expectations. To conclude this month's webinar, maximizing turnaround time is not just about working faster. And working faster is key because we don't have all the time on our hands. But working faster is better when you're working smarter. So you're still getting the result. In fact, sometimes better results than you would have gotten or when you were not even under pressure for time. So you have to now set clear priorities as we have spoken about it, improve your communication as much as possible, leverage technology for your routine tasks and automate them. And then you can, of course, manage expectations as we just spoke about, delegate the tasks that can be delegated, time block, of course, cut out distraction as much as possible. Then if you can do all of this, you can close the year on a high note with your project, your task, well managed, well done, well delivered. Your stakeholders are satisfied, you are fulfilled, and you can close in on 2024 on a grand scale. Okay. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Now let's ask questions. Questions. Anybody's got questions? Okay, I have questions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. I do have a question already in my DM, but I'm expecting to see more. Can we have more coming, more coming? On YouTube as well, you can ask questions. I've just gone to check my people on YouTube. Hi, people. Yes, I mentioned I was going to be focusing a lot on Zoom, but yes, I'm here for you on YouTube as well. So you can drop something in the chat and then, let's begin to ask our questions, okay? All right, I can see you, timers, Tiolu. I see you guys. Yes, taking charge of your time. I'm telling you, Tomide, you want to, go there and say, this time is mine. You can't say like that to your boss, but it has to sit in your head first to say, my time is mine. Yes, I'm employed to do the task, and that's it. They employed me to do specific tasks. So I should be the one in charge of the time that I am using to deliver that particular project. It is so important that we stop feeling helpless about our time. Okay, all right, powerful insight. Thank you. Malola said, thank you so much, SDJ. Thank you, guys. I'm excited that you had one or two things to pick. Oluwashemiye. Did I get that right? Just tell her. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Kunle as well. The question that I have, this person says, how do we deal with work meetings set to be 15 minutes and then go on to take 1 hour without it affecting our daily schedule? Do you know that emoji that's like this? That's what I want to give. So that question, like, oh my gosh, it happens a lot. And it happens a lot with people who don't necessarily regard other people's time. I don't understand it. In some cases you can't complain based on who the person is, but to a large extent, I want to say to you that one of the ways to learn is to ensure that when the meeting now depends on you, you show how to do it better, not to do it in the way that people are still feeling like, what the heck? People never keep to time. Let them be able to say, people never keep to time, but this person will not be like that. And when they say, who is moderating today's session? And they mention your name, be like, we are sure it's going to end on time. We are sure it's going to be impactful. That is the difference we need to bring. But if you call a meeting for 15 minutes, if for any reason it's not going to end in 15 minutes, I think that the best thing to be done is for you at that moment to beg people and say, excuse me, please can I have 15 extra minutes? Then you focus on the important things to be spoken about and then reschedule for another time. And it's okay to say we are going to have the meeting for 1 hour. Usually for my webinars, it starts at 9. I don't write closing time on it, but the focus is to end it within 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. And more often than not, the moment it goes beyond 1 hour, 10 minutes, I'm already telling that, okay, it's your questions. I can go on if you want. But yeah, the main teaching is already over by that time. If you need to go, you can go. The people who now want to wait for question and answer can wait. But to keep everybody, to hold everybody ransom, I think is unfair. I think people need to begin to say what meeting times, I mean, how long will the meetings will take. For many of the people who are leaders, leaders in quotes, they don't say that. They just give you an opening time. In fact, many times they give you an impromptu meeting time and they don't tell you the closing time. And then you get there and they begin to say these things as though there's time for, I'm like, oh my gosh. But then it always makes me keep it to mind. I'm not going to do that to those who are, my subordinates. I'm not going to allow that to continue to happen in the time where I am in charge. And the moment that happens, you begin to, as much as possible, make impact in that space. In that case, there might not be anything that you're able to do, but let me tell you what I do. For every time there is a break or a glitch in my schedule, and let me bring it very personal. So I do have specific times that I block out for my children as time with the boys or as family time in my schedule. But if my son comes to meet me at a time that is not family time, I say, Mommy, can I talk to you? You don't want to, especially when it's probably just holidays and they are not exactly always at home with you. So you want to say, okay, yes, I have time. I mean, you don't want to say, in my schedule, you are 6 p.m. That's the kind of conversation you don't want to have. And you might not be able to tell whether that's going to be a quick one or that's going to take longer. So when those kind of things come into my schedule, or somebody calls me unexpected, oh, I need you to get on this task for me. I've had people who I answer to who send me those kind of messages, and it takes 2 hours unscheduled. What I do immediately that is over is I go back to my schedule and begin to rearrange things. So in my schedule every day, I told you that I always have 15 minutes, transition time. All of these transition times, I probably would begin to eliminate it as much as possible. Try to focus in 5-10 minutes as against 15 minutes. My leisure times will go away. My social media times will go away. More often than not, I always would have scheduled time like 30 to 45 minutes to eat. Now, in those kind of days, I probably will eat at my desk and eat as I work. So I gain again another 45 minutes from there. One of the other things that I also get to do is Many times I get to move my sleeping time by 1 hour at the least or at the most, depending on how much time I need. So if I was supposed to sleep at 11 p.m. that day, it's certainly going to be midnight. If I was supposed to sleep at midnight that day, it's going to move to 1 o'clock. And then I'm now trying to see whether I could catch up, some power naps, 15 minutes nap, 30 minutes nap, and do so on oncoming days to make up for the lost sleep. Many times, if you are the subordinate in that situation, you can't do much, but you can begin to suggest to your superiors, say, oh, okay, can we do this thing better? Can we already have an agenda? It helps me to focus, it will help me to contribute. And if you have a leader that is not exactly a leader, but a boss, they will say, what are you saying? I own your time. I can call you at any time. Well, a toxic boss, but as much as possible, um, we will keep working at it. Okay. On YouTube, Blessing Taminde saying work meetings can be a lot. Oh my gosh. If you're here, you call work meetings and they extend more than 30 minutes, you need to check it. You need to check it, check it. Can I say it again? Check it. It's unproductive time. There are conversations you have in your team that not everybody needs to be aware of. Have your management meetings at the time where everybody, all your people in the management can be there. Then when it's time to now cascade the information down, have it with small, small groups. So you as the person in the top might do 4 hours of meeting, but you shouldn't do 4 hours of meeting with everybody on your team. Why? So it's only supposed to be yourself and perhaps your personal assistant or your executive assistant that should do the 4 hours. So first 15 minutes, a different set of people, another 30 minutes, a different set of people. Then if you're not able to finish the conversation, tell them to go and then we'll reconvene again at noon. Do you have any headway and everything? Okay, no, nobody has new things to say. That's fine. Let's talk about this first thing tomorrow morning. And I expect that first thing tomorrow morning, we all should have answers. That is the way to go. Not keep your people at endless meeting and say something, talk, because they don't have anything to say. Give them time to go think about it. You understand? All right. Now it says, then even dial you into meetings. I'm telling you, meetings that they didn't tell you about, and they expect you to still finish all your tasks for the day. I know, right? Thank you so much, Blessing Tomide, for that. I have another question, and this might be the last one that I am going to take because it seems to be a long one. This person says, thank you, Ma, for this powerful session. Thank you too. My question is, how can I manage my time and schedule when my work dictates my time? I think I already spoke a little about that, but I can still speak more. So for proper context, I'm a remote worker. I have set a proper schedule for a day where I have put some hours in for work, but my company doesn't really have working hours. They send me briefs anytime and I have to deliver. It's not Nigerian. But there are also times where I schedule some got to, I didn't get I schedule some got to for work, but no work shows up. Okay, you schedule some time perhaps for work and no work comes up then. How do I manage my time well in this situation? Okay, let me try to answer that question. You see, whatever contract you're signing, and this is a note of warning to everybody, but you might not want to sound arrogant, but be careful that you don't sign a contract that um as much as possible in some way enslaves you to the person who you work for. You have to have working hours. Your contract has to state working hours. The only other thing is that contract states that you can be called up to work at any time. I know that that is in contract, and I would certainly put that in the contract if you're going to be working for me to say you could be called on outside those working hours. But there's something else that is specified in your contract. It says that ideally you should work an average of 40 hours per week. So 40 hours per week also already tells that if on Monday you have already used 20 hours and you have only given me 4 hours of my time, as much as possible, I have only almost 20 hours for you for the rest of the week. And then we need to begin to talk about extra time, overtime that we do at work. So remote working does not mean that there shouldn't be terms and conditions. There should be specific time you work. Now, if it's not Nigerian and you are working with a different time zone, then that will have to be you scheduling your time to ensure that you're sleeping while you're supposed to sleep, so that when we are sleeping, then you can be awake to do the task. And you can already schedule it to say 8 hours is my ideal work time. Give or take, let's say I'm even adding an extra 2 hours. to the work time. No matter the briefs that they give and they say deliver, you have to be able to tell them it takes me 4 hours to do that task. If you give me 5 of it, that is 20 hours. So it's already 20 hours. I've expended time to do it for 20 hours. We need to begin to have that conversation. Otherwise, like you said, it will dictate our time, but your work should not dictate your time. You should allocate time for work. Your work should not dictate your time. Take the control back. All right. Now, you now said that sometimes you schedule time stuff for them and they don't bring it. But when they bring it, it's always a lot. Good. So that also means that you might not necessarily be working extra more than the 40 hours that you signed. I don't know how many hours you spend per week. You might not be working more than that 40 hours. It's just the fact that they send it at the time that they want to. Let me tell you what I do, and let's see whether it works for you. So in my schedule, the moment a particular task that I have to do is not possible to do, I go to the next day and move task from the next day to today, move task from the next day to today. So I have time for personal development while I'm trying to read. Perhaps it's a chapter of a book per day. I'm trying to study the Bible for a certain number of hours per day. I'm trying to listen to a podcast or a particular watch a video on YouTube for a certain number of hours per day. So if I'm waiting, for example, at the reception or somewhere, so I want to go and pitch an idea, and they say I should get there for 9 o'clock, and I'm there at a few minutes to 9, and it is 10:15 and they have not answered me. That is 1 hour, 15 minutes into my time. Of course, I can't storm out because I'm here to pitch an idea. But I assure you that in that 1 hour, 15 minutes, I have done quite a lot. More often than not, I'll have my Bluetooth earpiece. And if I don't even have my Bluetooth earpiece, I will have the e-copy of the book that I am reading. Or perhaps I want to step into my Bible app at that time and do all the study that I could have done later in the day, that I could have done tomorrow, so that when I have to move task, for example, maybe the task of preparing for this webinar, I couldn't do it because I was waiting at that office, then I have to prepare for this webinar tomorrow morning, which would have been the time that I should have used to study, to read a book, or something, to listen to the podcast. So podcast, I've checked it the day before. I've used the time for something. So move your own stuff, move your own personal development, move your own tasks, move the things that you could have been doing after work hours into those times when they refuse to call you, and advance in them, so that when they call you and you don't have time to do your work or the one that you're scheduled for yourself, you are not lagging behind in those things, majorly because you have already paid it forward. I hope that helped. Okay. All right. So I said, moving task from the next day to a free session today. Yes, 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 very much. So that's what you do. You should always have something you're doing that can fill up your time. So as much as possible, move it. There shouldn't be a time where you sit and you're like, what are we now going to do now? No. If you're living your life like that, you're not being intentional enough. And then you need to step up the game of intentionality about how you are spending your hours, and then feeling possible things to do. So you could use that time to network. You could tell them, oh, excuse me, I want to make some calls. And you could use that one to call all your secondary school friends that you've been meaning to call for 1 year that you didn't call. That's not lost time. That's you filling up that time with something. And then you now know, okay, I've achieved that task. That could have taken me 15 minutes every week for the next 10 weeks. But now I've already made all the calls that I planned to make on that particular day just because I was waiting. Please don't use it to scroll on WhatsApp or Instagram also. Please don't slip off in their reception and snore, That's on the lighter note. As much as possible, get it into productive time. Transit time is one major thing we also don't think about. Many of them we commute. I mean, for people who work remotely and they are at home all day, they might not, they can't relate. But if you leave the house at 6 a.m. and your work time is 8 a.m., those 2 hours, what do you use it for? Many of us actually might say, okay, I pray, I do my morning devotion in that time, and I catch extra sleep. But sometimes you don't even need the extra sleep. You are just bored enough to sleep. So fix it in as personal development time. Catch up with 1 or 2 chapters of a book that you're trying to read, at that particular time. Get, queue up podcasts, things that you want to watch later on YouTube that you can now begin to fill up those times. So 2 hours you're moving to the office, but 2 hours you're growing in your mind, growing in your spirit, growing, in your capability and your abilities. And it won't, will begin to affect how you deliver more positively at work and how you're able to step up for higher responsibilities. Okay. I think we've had a beautiful, beautiful evening, guys. Don't you think? Those of you on YouTube as well, I know that we've had a fantastic time in this webinar. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for always showing up. I love you so much. I'm looking forward to you sharing your wins with me as you go ahead and use this turnaround strategy, the turnaround time strategies that I have shared with you tonight. You have your to-dos, and in case you don't remember them, just go ahead and check them on YouTube and then begin to use them. You can still do a lot, a lot. I promise you, this is not just me trying to be a motivational speaker. You can still achieve a lot in 2024. Don't give up on it yet. All right. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. And I'll see you again on this webinar at the end of this month, which will be the last Sunday of this month. And the last Sunday is on the 24th of November. If there's going to be a move, there's going to be a move to the 1st of December. But that would not be the last webinar for the year. As much as possible, I'm going to try to fill up like a Christmas party grand finale kind of webinar at the end of December. Okay. All right, guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful night. God bless you. Bye for now.